This knife presentation is just an evaluation for our law enforcement and military brothers out there that are serving this country and this great nation. I'd just like to give you a little bit of, share with you how we evaluate, or how SMJ evaluates the carrying of a tactical weapon, and which weapon should I carry, what's the best way to look, what are the things I should look at in picking a tactical folder, a knife for self-defense, things like that. Well, let me share some things with you. The first thing that I want you to think about when you're picking a weapon, tactical folder or a fixed blade, whatever the case may be, or a gun for that matter, it all boils down to the grip. How does it feel in your hand? All these feel really good in my hand, even this right here. So the first criteria is the grip. How does it feel in your hand? If it doesn't feel good in your hand, it's no good to you. It's going to make you think about your hand when you should be thinking about what's going on. The other thing is the locking mechanism. Now this is an automatic. This has got a unique blade. This is a fighting knife. I like the blade because of the way that I move. I have my movements. The way we move our blade in the system, we have what we call blind spot attacks. So this is really, really good. But getting back to what I wanted to point out was the locking mechanism. This is called an excess lock, and it's really good and very secure. So the chances of this folding on your hand are very, very unlikely, which is a big, big deal. Okay, with your fixed blade, it's not going to happen. It has its shortcomings also, and I'll tell you what it is here in just a minute. The other thing is that you see this is cold steel, an AK-47 Mini. It has an excess lock, a triad lock. The triad lock is very, very strong. It's stronger than probably the blade. So the chance of this blade collapsing on my fingers is very unlikely. So what am I saying? I'm saying that the grip, the locking mechanism has to be on par. Has to be the very best I could find. I don't want the knife to collapse in my hand. And last but not least, I want the non-lethal option. And what I mean by that is for the knife to protrude, to stick out just enough that I can strike without deploying the blade. I call that the non-lethal option. And I'd like to have it. I don't want to cut somebody or have to cut somebody unless I really, really have to. This has a skull crusher, excellent for that. I'd rather do damage that way and have to hurt him that way if it's going to stop him rather than have to. The alternative is this. And I'd rather try to see if I can get it solved this way first. If I can't, then I go to the next step. But he forces me to do that, not me. That's forced on what he does, what the circumstances are, will dictate what I have to do to him. And that's how that is. The non-lethal option with the fixed blade, the problem is the blade's already deployed. So when you try to hit with the non-lethal option, you can wind up inadvertently, it can bounce back and stab you. And that's really something you need to think about. So I don't know, that's up to you. I think it's good, it's a fixed blade, no moving parts, you pull it out, go to work. So you can tie this to your belt, pull it out and go to work, okay? So if you're in that business where you have to do things like that, then this might be the route you need to take. If you're in the civilian life, law enforcement perhaps, then maybe the tactical folder is the answer. But remember the three criteria, the three things you have to remember. The first one is it needs to fit in your hand. It needs to have a good locking mechanism, and it also it has to have the non-lethal option, the grip, and the locking mechanism. Those are the three things that we would like for you to think about when choosing a weapon for your self-defense, whether in military service or law enforcement. With that, I'll leave you with that, with our motto, pain in, pain out, and train hard, and be safe, my brothers, and God bless you.